Now, I recently had a friend come to me and ask me how to make $50 a day just trading futures, right? And I asked them, okay, certainly you can definitely make $50 a day, but what is what's your account size that you're starting at? And he told me $2,000. And I think this is a big question a lot of people ask, and there's also a lot of, you see YouTubers, traders out there, the gurus that say, here's how to make $100, $5,000 a day. And to be honest, it's all bullshit, right? Now, let me tell you why and show you why in this video, and we'll break it down, okay? So this is why you can't make $50 a day trading, okay? And this is just the simple reality check on the math. So if you have an account size of $2,000, which is a really common starting point, then the daily target, let's just say that you have, is $50. Now, that is a 2.5% daily return on your account. Now, monthly, within just 20 days, that is $1,000. And that is a 50% monthly return. Now, annualized, that is 1,800% a year, and no hedge fund on earth does this. Now, the best hedge funds out there are doing 20 to 30%. So, for example, also Renaissance Medallion, this is one that I looked up, they peaked at 66% per year, right? That was it. When it comes to, for example, S&P 500, when it comes to the tick math, what $50 a day actually requires, $50 a day, one full point on ES, 4 ticks times $12.50. All right, that's all it takes. So it just takes one full point or 4 ticks at $12.50. And you also have zero margin for error. So one losing trade is just going to wipe out the entire day. And you also have zero buffer for drawdown. So commissions just eat into that 1.2 because you're going to have commissions and you're going to have slippage as well. Especially, if you're trading NASDAQ like pre-market open when slippage is higher and liquidity is usually lower. So that, commissions could eat into that, fees, all that. Now, position sizing, right? When we're going to talk about, for example, MES versus a mini, right? So MES, the micro, it's $5 per point, 1 point target, 10 point stop cost, right? Is $50. That is 2.5%. So that's manageable. Now, if you're trading the mini, the cost per point is $50. 1 point target is $50 and 10 point stop cost, right? If you just move your stop loss down 10 points, that's $500. So that is 25%, which is ultimately an account killer of your 2K account. So one thing you have to focus on is the responsible daily loss limit, which is usually max 1 to 2% per day. So on, for example, 2K, on a 2K account, $20 to $40 daily loss limit. That is 4 to 8 ticks on MES. So that ultimately is going to force a ton of discipline and it preserves capital. Now, what most beginners do is no loss limit at all. They chase the $50 target and they lose 200 instead. And then the account is gone in 2 weeks and then you rinse and repeat. And look, as someone who is kind of a beginner in this space, I've made all those mistakes. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and say I just happen to not make any of those mistakes. No, I made all those mistakes, right? And I'm trying to get better every single day. I'm actually reading this book right here. It's called Best Loser Wins. And it's a great book because it's really eye-opening about protecting your capital at all costs and protecting your loss, cutting your losers early and not letting them drain your entire account, which a lot of people do in the space and something that I did myself. And I'm just trying to be transparent about it. Now, another thing we need to talk about when it comes to, why you can't make $50 a day trading ES, it's about the targets. Targets are ultimately very dangerous, I've realized. Now, when it comes to the job mentality, you show up, you expect to get paid. So one bad day, you work harder and you trade more, right? Which, for most people, that seems super logical, right? If you have a bad day, you just work harder at it and you just trade a little bit more. But the sad thing is that you typically lose more on those days. Now, income is tied to hours plus effort, right? That's the job mentality. And a consistent paycheck every month, employer absorbs the bad days, right? We all sing Kumbaya after too. Now, the real market reality is that some days you just have no edge at all. One bad day, you stop and you protect your capital, you call it a day. All right, this is something I've gotten a lot better at within the last few weeks. I was not good at a month ago even. I'm a lot better at it now. Your income is also tied to your edge plus your discipline, right? Discipline is so big. And I made a video about it as well on my channel. returns are just uneven by design, and you absorb, every single bad day. That's just how it works. And here are the 4 traps that you'll probably go into, is that you'll hold losers too long trying to get back to break even, right? Huge. For example, a $50 loss becomes a $300 loss, and just the hole gets deeper every single time. You cut your winners early also once you hit your number. So, you just hit your number, you call it a day, where you could have just moved your brackets and just let it run even further. And then also you overtrade on bad days, trying to force it. I've been there, I've done that. And then you size up to make back losses, and then you end up losing the account completely. So here's what you need to stop doing. You need to stop tracking your daily P&L in dollars, and you need to also stop checking how much you made this week and whether today was a good day and how far from your monthly target you are. What you need to start doing is you need to start checking your win rate and your average R per trade. You can use something like TradeZilla. You can check your rule compliance rate, so how much you actually hit your rules, your discipline rules, right? And also whether your process was sound, and then also the sample size of just quality setups in general. If you can actually start tracking and hitting those things, then you're going to be way better. And this is something that I'm personally working on now. So build your rules, follow your rules, build a sample size, measure your win rate plus R, refine the system, and then the money follows. So the money is just a byproduct of doing everything right. You track the process, and then the P&L will ultimately reflect your process. And I also don't want to make this video from, an expert guru point of view, because I'm not there yet. I'm just in the process of learning, and these were things that really ultimately fixed a lot of my mistakes as well. And one of my thoughts was like, oh, I can make $100 trading the NASDAQ per day, and I would just be a millionaire very soon. And then you get hit with this like hard lesson. And this was the lesson that I had to learn. So I wanted to make this video and kind of tell you guys about it, so maybe you can learn it sooner than I did. So that's all I have for this one. But if you guys are interested in more of this content and you want to follow along for my journey, then subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.